This is the second and final section of a conversation a friend of mine and I had with Jehovah's Witnesses.
I was just going to say real quick before I forget, it's kind of like, too, I've come across people, we've asked the same question, what do you think, what's tomorrow, what's going to happen, Do we just live 50, 60, 70 years, we die, and that's it? I mean, some people will remember you a couple of years, they'll miss you, and that's it? Do you think that was the purpose of man, to live here just a couple of years, do a couple of little stuff here on earth? Maybe if you were a teacher, you did great things, you spoke great things, and they'll remember you, a president, so on. Really, I mean, is that it?
I think that's what a lot of people are afraid of. They're afraid of being forgotten, they're afraid of being mortal. But just because you're afraid of something, it isn't a good idea to, make stuff up to feel better about it. Like some people say, oh, well, we're going to be reincarnated. That is an ancient belief. But, maybe that makes some people feel better, but there's not much evidence of it. Reincarnation or an afterlife, these are the kinds of things I understand why people want to believe in them. And I totally did. I still think it would be great. But I think it'd be cool if an afterlife exists, but I think it's important to accept reality for what it is, to become comfortable with the idea that, yes, I will die. Yes, I could die, today. I could die in 40 years. To become comfortable with that reality and accept the fact that, yeah, you may be forgotten. We're temporal.
But that was not God's purpose for mankind. His purpose was, like we've been talking about Adam and Eve, that was his purpose, man, to be happy, to live in a perfect life, but it got interrupted by Satan, who, of course, the story from there, but his purpose is still the same, it's just been kind of like a pause, and it will continue after, when he chooses to bring that change.
I know that's your interpretation of those words, but I don't find certain interpretations very compelling. And
some people might say that Adam and Eve was God's first mistake.
Yeah, I have heard that said. I've also heard, the Lilith story. There are many different different versions of people's beliefs and what they feel happen. What do you said that you think we're very temporal, so what do you believe happens when you die? What do you think happens when you die? What is your belief?
Decompose, and people remember us for a while.
That's we are, that's okay. That's very interesting. I have never found somebody that really shared that view. Wow. We also believe that that when we die, our body decomposes.
I'm also going to be an organ donor, so, parts of me will hopefully live on for a little longer.
After you.
Yeah.
Your eyes will see beyond.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, my brain won't be attached to know what they're seeing, but
right, exactly.
Hope to help people that way.
Yeah. I don't know where I was going from there.
Dust.
Yes, we do believe that as well, but we do think that through Jesus' sacrifice, that part of that sacrifice was to resurrect us to a perfect life on the earth. And that's kind of the culmination of what we believe Jesus' sacrifice, to answer your question earlier, what his propitiatory sacrifice will do in the future, is to resurrect those that have been dead for centuries, since humankind's beginning, and those who are able to survive through the coming tribulation to join them in a perfect world, where we still have the capacity for free will, and we can still choose to fall out of that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the Bible does say that many will turn away.
So wait, even in the perfect world, people could still turn away.
It does. Yeah.
But you'd have to be insane to do that.
I know. I know.
Well, that's the thing.
Well.
Like, that's how I feel about Adam. If he actually had all the information, it's like one way or the other.
Yeah.
You take a child and you say, okay, pick one of these candy bars, and they pick one. And you're like, good thing you didn't pick that one because it was poisoned. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
That's if the child actually knew one was poisoned and one wasn't. he would never choose the poisoned one. So that's how I kind of think about, like, people not choosing an actual perfect state. They're either insane, so they shouldn't have the right to make that choice. I wouldn't let a retarded child choose, you know, between those two. I would choose for them. Or they don't have all the information. Because if someone actually had all the information about heaven or hell or being resurrected or not, no way would anyone choose not.
See, I don't think...
But I'm not sure about that, actually. To be honest, because people are not rational creatures. And we are often blinded by our emotions and by other things other than purely logical. This will result in some sort of, you know, eternal damnation that I can't really see, and I've been told about, and I've been told this is the...
Well, that's the thing, is if they have all the information.
No,
if they can see it and feel it and know what's
You
coming.
can be given all the information, but if it's not... I mean, you're saying they would have to be taken down to hell and shown this is what's going to happen to you if you don't do...
I mean, it's like...
that's the only way of getting all the information.
It's like
by
when
actually
you take the youth to the jail, and you're like, if you get on meth, this is where you're going to end up.
Scared straight
Yeah,
program.
yeah. So then they have... That's what I'm thinking. Like that.
That's what you mean by all... You mean visceral,
yes.
like they've like experiential,
Yeah.
not just being told...
Right.
You know,
right.
this is going to happen or this is going to happen.
Right. Because like you can see people making a bad choice if they have almost all the information or like stuff like that.
Even in that case, when you take the kids to the jail, some of those kids will still end up in jail.
Yeah. Get the best of that.
You know, because at some later point, they're still going to experience something that, you know, they're like, I think I really want to do this.
But there's an end to their sentence. Unless it's the death sentence or a life sentence, there's an end to it. You know, like if somebody actually had, I'm choosing not to be resurrected in a perfect world, there's no recovery from that. You know, and I don't know if you guys believe in like a torturous hell.
No.
But okay.
And we don't feel like the Bible supports that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I was just going to show you about Eve. Here in 3, when the devil approached her and asked her, she said that she knew that tree she was not supposed to eat from. It says, now the serpent proved to be the most cautious, blah, 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 blah. He said to the woman, is it really so that God said, you must not eat from every tree of the garden? She answers, at this the woman said to the serpent, of the fruit of the trees of the garden we may eat. But as for eating of the fruit of the tree that is in the middle of the garden, God has said, you must not eat from it, you must not touch it, that you do not die. And then he goes on to say, well, you won't die.
Which he was right. She didn't
So,
for a long time.
my question would be to you, do you think that they would really know mankind had not sinned at this point?
Well,
So
right, they
wouldn't
didn't know good
their-
from evil. How can they make a good choice if they hadn't yet eaten from the tree of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil? If she didn't know she was choosing evil, she had no idea what birth pangs were. She had no idea what was
She didn't
coming.
know
If
it.
she actually knew.
So are you saying God planned it for her to do that? Do you think?
Well, I'm just on she didn't have all the information
Yeah.
to make the decision.
But it wouldn't sound, to me personally, logic that if God who created all this, He's the mighty, do you think He would plan Adam and Eve? He knows, well, if she's going to sin, and then He's going to follow her. Do you think He would do all this for, wouldn't it be a waste of time?
Well,
if he would,
I guess it depends on if you think he's omniscient. I mean, the way Genesis is written, God doesn't seem omniscient all
God
the way
is
through.
love. God is love.
Because I could understand that, but
So he
the
wouldn't.
omniscience, like he doesn't know
What's gonna happen next.
he doesn't know what's going to happen next. He doesn't know where Adam and Eve are, unless he's just pretending. He doesn't know that mankind's going to become so bad that he feels like he should drown the world. He doesn't know he's going to regret drowning the world afterward.
He does say the heart is is it treacherous, you say it? He knows our heart. He knows our heart better than you know your own heart. So,
So then he did know, is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is that he knows that man, I'm speaking of an imperfect person. I'm not perfect. I guess I shouldn't even relate this to that because we're talking about Adam and Eve when they were perfect. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I believe that God, according to what the Bible teaches us, that He would not put this couple in a situation where, he knew they would probably sin. You know, that would be a waste of time, really. And it would go against what the Bible teaches of God. God is love. You know, a loving father wouldn't do something like that. So it kind of contradicts itself if I were to believe that way. But I believe that, you know, it was, like I said earlier, you know, he let them choose. You know, he's not going to force you. You're not going to force your foot in a shoe that doesn't fit. He doesn't want anything forced on you.
But if so, he let them choose without all the information. They didn't understand good and evil because they hadn't eaten from that tree.
Well, he did give them instructions, though. He just told them simply, you know, this is yours. Enjoy the fruits. Enjoy the animals. Just one thing he told them. He did tell them, do not eat from that fruit, from the good and evil, if I'm saying it right. That was the instruction. So the only thing they had to do was whether they want to obey or not.
So why do you think he made that tree?
Why do I think he put the tree there? Well, I think, you know, it was just a matter of obedience, you know, if they were going to be obedient, you know, and the Bible shows us, you know, it wasn't that way. It's like today, you know, we live surrounded by a lot of stuff that are evil and bad. You choose to do them or not, or if because they're in front of you, you're going to go ahead and do it. It's kind of like a drug. If it's in front of you, you know the consequences of a bad drug, what's going to happen to you. You choose to whether do it or not, to respect your body or love yourself enough not to do that. So there goes everything. That's what I understand and believe, you know.
So you believe God set up a test that Adam and Eve could fail for no reason other than to test them?
No, I don't think he put something where he knew they were going to fail.
No, I'm not saying where he knew they were going to fail, but he was going to test them whether or not they would fail, knowing that they could fail, and for no reason other than to test them.
Well, they chose not to pass the test or, you know, fail it.
I agree that was their choice, but just putting the tree in the garden. You know, she asked, why is it there? I'm extrapolating from what you said. You know, God put it there. But it sounds like what you're saying as a test of their obedience, to see if they would be obedient. And so he made a test and put it in there, knowing that they might fail it. And he had no other reason for putting the tree there other than to test them.
I don't agree that he did not know or he knew, you know, whether they would pass it or not. Because if he knew, what would be the point of him doing all that? If he knew they were going to fail, then that would, like I was saying earlier, that would contradict the scripture.
I'm not saying he knew they would. I'm saying he knew that they might, that they could fail it. So is there another reason for the tree to be there other than to test humanity? I guess that's my question to you guys.
I honestly cannot answer that, truthfully. Like I feel that there must have been a purpose in doing that. I don't think that he thought they were going to eat from it. I don't think that he did it as an intentional trick or a maliciousness or anything.
No, I'm certainly...
No, I'm not saying you feel that way. But I really can't answer what its greater purpose would have been. It called it the tree of the knowledge of good and bad. So maybe there was some extended purpose had they not eaten from it that would have had a greater purpose.
I've never heard anybody hypothesize that.
And yeah, that's just totally me speaking off the cuff.
Yeah.
I don't honestly know, but I really feel it wasn't a malicious intent.
No.
Yeah.
I've never, I agree with you. I haven't really looked into more why the tree was there. I would have to look more information up.
Yeah, it makes me want to go do some research on that and see.
But it is a good question that you brought up. You know, maybe next time if we're locally around here and you guys are here, we can stop by and
again sometime and
Sure.
chat.
chat with you, see what we found out.
Yeah.
Because we learn too. We're not wise at all of the scriptures. We learn every day, and you know that's why we're here. Because even people share other comments and questions that we too have to go home and we got to review that.
Right.
So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you guys. All right. Well, maybe another time, if it's okay with y'all, we'll stop by and see if we can continue this conversation. We gotta see your neighbors
Yeah.
if they're home.
Okay.
Visit them.
I think they're all gone, but
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you
All
so
right, you
much
guys
for
have a
sharing
good
your
day
time
then.
with us.
Thanks.
Enjoy your lunch. I'm sorry.
That-
we
Not a problem.
distracted you.
Not a problem.
Have a
Bye,
good
guys.
day.
Bye. You